Hello and welcome to another episode of IPwithShuchi. Today I'm going to be speaking about something very interesting and very close to my heart: intellectual property and how to protect it. Remember, intellectual property is all well and good, but if you haven't protected it, someone else may come along and may actually make a claim to that intellectual property. What do you do then? Let's take an example. You are an artist who's primarily focused on the digital space, which means you create most of your art online or using an online software. All right. Now, obviously, as you create your art and you put it out there, you collaborate with others to, say, for example, create posters for movies, or you create artwork for books, or you create, and all of that artwork is now being put out there. What happens if you find your artwork being claimed as someone else's? That means you lose out on revenue which ought rightfully to be yours. Let's take another example. You are an entrepreneur and your business is dependent completely on this really beautiful software algorithm that you have written. That then becomes your trade secret. Remember, trade secrets can be anything around which your entire business is focused. Now, my question is, when you have these trade secrets, and a trade secret could be even a list of clients, for that matter, a recipe. Imagine how important a specific recipe is to a restaurant. In this example, the software algorithm is where your entire business is based. Obviously, you want to keep that software algorithm secret and available only to yourself. What do? Or, for example, you head the research and development wing of a pharmaceutical company. Your company is now about to produce a mind-boggling drug, something that's going to serve humanity across the board. Do you want it copied by your competitors? Do you want your competitors to claim the first right to be able to produce this medicine? Obviously not. You'd want to protect your rights. Now understand that in your business process, on a daily basis, what you create are digital assets. Now, these digital assets in themselves may not have intellectual property rights. However, they are steps to what will finally have intellectual property, or what will finally be considered intellectual property. How do you protect these steps? Tomorrow, a competitor could come along and say, yes, you created this, but you know what? At that point in time, we had created it first. How do you prove that you were the first person to create that digital asset? And this is where a wonderful new technology of WIPOs, that is the World Intellectual Property Organization, comes in. It's called WIPO proof. It is the first proof of the existence of a digital asset. So how do we do this? I'm going to take an example here. Suppose I am a musician and I've created a piece of digital music. That basically means that my music has been created online. Now, how do I protect it? I first create an account with WIPO. Having created this account and logging in, I finally go and request a WIPO proof token. How does this work? When I request a WIPO proof token, I am asked to upload the electronic file of that digital music that I have created. I upload the file, and that file is directly run through what is called a one-way hash function. A one-way hash function is like, say, for example, a mathematical formula. So it basically takes your file and it runs it through that hash function and it generates a hash result for you. Now remember, there is always the fear that if I upload my piece of music to WIPO proof, doesn't that mean that at some point in time I'm endangering that music? But no, WIPO proof never keeps a copy of the original file. All that it maintains is the hash result that has been generated from your music file. Now remember, the way a hash function works is it is always dependent on the input that it is given. So which means if there's even the slightest bit of change made to your file, the hash result immediately changes. That then means that once you've generated the hash result, you can be assured that your file, if it is changed in any way, it will show as a different result, thereby ensuring that your file can no longer be changed just a little bit. So I've ensured the integrity of my music file. Then the automated backend system of WIPO proof timestamps this hash result. That means it now becomes proof that this particular hash, which was created from a small piece of music, is now time-stamped, which means that it has been stamped at a certain time, which means it has been created in the system at a certain time. Considering the fact that there are several different time zones around the world, this particular timestamp is synchronized with the Coordinated Universal Time, or UTC. I now have proof that I created a certain file at a certain given time. Now the original hash result that you had obtained is now signed with a private key to make it a digital signature, and a public key is added to ensure authenticity of the file. Now I simply download the WIPO proof token which has been created like this, and I have unalterable proof which has been time-stamped to prove that this music file existed at the time that this token was created. The obvious next question is, if I wanted to protect my potential intellectual property like this, how much would I have to spend? The rate is approximately 20 CHF or Swiss francs for a single token. Worked out in Indian rupees, it comes to approximately somewhat a little bit more than 1600 rupees. Of course, tokens can be bought in bulk by larger companies which are regularly creating these digital assets. WIPO proof could become a very functional, very accessible tool to prove the existence of digital assets at different stages before they become intellectual property. This could help companies ward off potential litigation arising from their intellectual property resources. In a highly digitized world, WIPO-proof tokens also become a trusted source of evidence in cases relating to intellectual property. This is IP with Shuchi signing off for today. And if you have ideas on what I should include in my coming videos, I'd love to hear them in my comments.